Welcome back to the Rebel's Edge. I'm Jon Najarian. My brother Pete Najarian joining me shortly. As you can see, I'm here at the Chicago Board Option Exchange, as we used to call it, but now Cboe Global Markets. And we've got today's Rebel's Edge coming right at you. Bang! Bang.
Bang.
That's Pete Najarian. And that right up there, my friends, that's the logo of Cboe Global Markets and Silex. We're lucky to be here. It's there's always energy here on the trading floor, and they actually still do trade here, Pete. Yep. Whereas, I mean no disrespect to the New York or NASDAQ, but nothing really trades there. It's all in the data centers. But here, there are open outcry bids and offers, and it's pretty cool still, and an awful lot of volume.
Yeah.
So, well, let's dive right in, shall we, Pete, into macro?
Yep, let's start the week off right. A little macro action.
I'll say it's Zelensky and Trump to start the week. And later in the week, of course, it's going to be about Jackson Hole and whether J-Pow can herd cats. Because apparently some of those cats are going this direction and some are going this direction, Pete. Some of them want those cuts now.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to hold off because he thinks he's fighting inflation, and I think he's hurting jobs and hurting the U.S. in terms of payments for the financing of our debt. But we'll see what happens later in the week with that.
Yep. I agree with you, John. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. We never talk about this when we come on here. We just decide to take what we've got. And I was going to say the exact same thing. The Fed storylines, Jackson Hole, but also, you've got Putin, you've got Zelensky, you've got, can we have more stuff going on at once? They're still negotiating with China, by the way, and they pushed that out another 90 days. So, there is so much going on. But I'll tell you what, total credit to what they've been able to accomplish so far with everything going on, because I'll tell you, the negotiations and the dollars that are coming in because of the tariffing and so forth, what are we talking, like 150 billion or something like that, John? Maybe more than that?
I think it's pushing towards 300 billion, Pete.
Wow. Okay.
And, and the great thing was when Europe was saying, well, we're going to do this kind of thing for retaliation and that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, but we're the biggest customer in the world. So, you're going to hurt yourself more than you're going to hurt us. Well, they decided that they would put 0 tariffs on our stuff going over to Europe. And meanwhile, they would accept us tariffing them at 15%. Doesn't sound like taco to me, Pete. It doesn't sound like Trump always saves.
By the way, John, let's go back to some of these countries, not to get here too far, but, they've been doing it for 75 years. That's okay. Yeah, just keep on going. This is just part of the money train that you guys get. People need to look this up and find out exactly how many years that most of these tariffs have been there, because it's kind of on the ridiculous side, and we finally have addressed it now.
Yeah, thank goodness. Well, on the fantastic futures side, Pete, I'm going to take a look at both the Bitcoin and Ethereum, in other words, digital asset side, because they're both down several percent today. And I'm also going to talk briefly about Russia sending oil to India, and then India refines it and sends it into Europe. Kind of sounds like they're buying the oil from Russia, doesn't it? They're just an intermediary in between is all, Pete, and it happens to be India, and that's why Trump's going to tariff the heck out of India for doing that. But they must think that we're total boobs, and maybe some of the complete idiots that used to be the folks watching, supposed to be the fox watching the hen house, and I guess the fox was eating the hens.
John, as far as the fantastic futures for me, I know I almost always do the VIX. I'm not doing it today because it's not all that exciting to me, but it is a little over 15 just to update people. But I will say this, crude oil. How about the fact that we're down back, John, towards those 62s, which is about a 3-month low. And on top of that, take a look at nat gas. That goes all the way back to late April, John, to get to the price where it is now at 288. So it's the lowest since then. I would say that from an energy perspective, these things are getting beaten down pretty far. And it's something I think we should all at least keep a little eye on this, because that is affecting a lot of different parts of the economy.
Well, absolutely, Pete. And as we dive into stocks, I'm going to kick it right off with an unusual activity for day, because Dayforce, D-A-Y, Tomo Bravo is in talks to acquire this human resource or HR management software provider. Well, turns out, Pete, we had some pretty good unusual activity in this name. And today is the 18th, but last Friday, somebody decides to buy almost 3,000. That's 300,000 shares, folks, of a $53 stock. You guys can do the math, but that's a pretty big trade. Well, they were buying September double nickel, 55 calls. Well, those calls are worth a lot more when the stock trades north of $67. Look at that, Pete. 67.50, just boom, a moonshot. And if you want some trades like that, folks, go to marketrebellion.com/get started. But yeah, this is a big takeover, Pete, for this HR software provider. And it values it at, I think, more than $9 billion, according to Bloomberg.
Well, and the amazing thing, John, is this: at the levels where they are right now, where they're talking about doing this deal, because the deal's not done yet, but as they've been talking about this deal, it's very active and all the rest of it. How about if I told you this? Year to date, the thing did get all the way down. I think it was down towards $50 or a little less than $50, something like that, John. But if you look at some of the numbers that they've put up, the stock is down 60% since 2021. Meanwhile, 70% increase in revenue and even more profitable going forward since that time. So this is a sleeper. And if they don't close this thing out fast enough, John, I tell you what, I think that somebody else might wake up and start saying, you know, maybe this isn't such a bad buy after all. We might want to jump in front of them. So I don't think this is over yet, but who knows? But everything I'm looking at tells me this thing is way, way undervalued right now for what they're going to be able to do. But Tomo Bravo, that's what they do, John. They just go around acquiring, and this could be a really good acquisition on their part.
Well, there's a collaboration, Pete, that is our next stock, which is Novo Nordisk. You guys know them as the company that basically makes what used to be a diabetes treatment, which was Ozempic and Wegovy. And now, of course, it's a miracle weight loss drug, and it really does work. And they're going to team up with Good RX, as in good prescriptions. GDRX is seeing a nice pop because of this, Pete. And $4.99 a month for self-pay customers versus thousands of dollars. This is a really big deal for anybody who's either A, trying to use these drugs to manage their diabetes, or B, trying to use these drugs to lose weight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, John. And everything you said is correct. I would just say in this collaboration, I almost lean towards GoodRx as the one that I'd rather be in right now, to be honest with you. When you look at what their numbers look like and how this can give them the opportunity to be able to do what they're going to do because of this collaboration. Wow. I mean, you know, the idea of having Ozempic and having the ability to do some of the things that they hadn't really had at that price, at that range where they are, I would say that GoodRx is also looking pretty good in this particular trade.
It is. GDRX, folks. Keep an eye on that one. Very strong action in that one. And speaking of strong, Pete, TeraWulf, which is WULF. Pete and I have talked about this one and talked about it. And you know what? Back a week ago, Pete, this thing was a $5 stock. And it was trading like 24 million shares a day. Well, now look at it. It is, let's see, on Thursday last week, it traded almost 300 million shares. And it popped all the way to as high as 876 on Thursday. Well, today it hits 1071. It was up another 14 or 15%. And why? You don't often see this, but they're going to basically launch a private offering of 400 million convertible notes, Pete. A lot of times people will see that and they'll say, I'm going to step back. But this thing pops, it more than doubles in a week. And I think they're smartly saying, you know what? We're going to raise some money here at the higher price. And people like it.
Makes a lot of sense to me, John. that's the way a good businessman works his business, him or her, whatever. But yeah, to your point, John, WULF hit new highs, 52-week highs. So that's a big jump for them, as you were just mentioning that whole thing. And I think it's pretty curious too, just looking at what Google's doing, John, as far as some of the backstops that they've got, the amount of shares that they've taken in. If I saw this correctly, they now own about 14% stake in TeraWulf as well. So, and there's a possibility that there could be another $60 million worth of stock being bought on top of this whole thing over the next 13 days. So very interesting to see this kind of an idea of gathering the assets that they are right now and the dollars that this thing is. You can just tell by the stock. All you've got to do is take a look at what that looked like last week and including today in the first hour or two of trade, just how fast this stock is absolutely managing to get itself up to these new highs. And you know what, John, given what they're saying, this could be one of those names someday that somebody's going to scoop up. I wonder if anybody's got a stake over 13%. Well, maybe somebody's got 14% out there. I wonder if that happens at some point in time. Who knows?
Yeah. And Pete, I've got one for you that I know you're going to love because we both love nat gas plays.
Yep.
And EQT is one of the biggest out there. And they transmit it. They pull it up out of the ground. They send it through pipelines and so forth. But the stock is down pretty substantially as the price of nat gas has fallen pretty substantially. Now, Roth Capital just started them with they took them from buy to a neutral and set the price target at 57 down from 75. So they're not real happy about what's going on with natural gas prices, but I think you and I are pretty happy about nat gas coming down, not from an investment standpoint in EQT, but from a standpoint of anybody who needs that instant on power, whether you're in Texas or Arizona or wherever. A lot of that is powered by nat gas, folks.
Yeah, I actually think this move to the downside is an opportunity, John. A lot of the time we say, well, you might want to wait, and maybe you do wait just a little bit. But I would say this, Roth is kind of reacting with a knee jerk on this one, I think, because yes, we're at pretty far down from, like I mentioned, we're multi-month lows is where we are today at 288. So sure, you're nervous about that. So the production side is there, but you're still moving it, right? That's what these guys do on top of it. They've got pipelines. They do a lot of movement as well. And I think that's why Jefferies is going right at them. Earlier last week, Jefferies was talking about they moved their target up to $70 as opposed to what these guys did, Roth, where they lowered their price target from 75 down to 57. So I look at this and I think if you're going for a more long-term, which let's be honest, in energy, that's generally what you're doing. It's usually not a day trade by any stretch. I think if you're longer term, I think EQT is going to be a stock that people are going to say, I could have bought it where? How long ago was that? I think people will be kicking themselves on this one.
Very well. They could be. Like I say, I'm bullish on the company. And I understand why the price is down right now.
Sure.
But I also understand that after we hit these summer peaks, which we've more or less hit already, then you start looking at people putting as much into storage as possible for the winter.
Yeah.
But, that's what makes a market, Pete. All right. We've got a pretty interesting video today.
I like it.
Pete loves talking about NIL, which is name, image, and likeness, NIL. And it's men and women. In fact, one of the highest paid athletes was a female gymnast down at LSU. She still might be, Pete.
Pretty attractive too, I gotta say. I mean, I'm not trying to whatever, but I mean, that doesn't hurt either, John.
No. Livy Dunn, is it, Pete, or something like that? Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of the 15 highest paid NIL athletes in college football.
These are the college football players with the highest
was
NIL
Art
value
Fanning, for those
heading
who don't
into the
know.
season, ranked from 15 to 1. Number 15 is Ohio State safety Caleb Downs at $2.4 million. Number 14 is TCU quarterback Josh Hoover, also at $2.4 million. Number 13 is Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams at $2.7 million. Number 12 is Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer, also at $2.7 million. Number 11 is Duke quarterback Darian Mensah at $2.8 million. Number 10 is Michigan quarterback Bryce Underwood at $3 million. Number 9 is Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt at $3.1 million. Number 8 is Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, also at $3.1 million. Number 7 is Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik at $3.4 million. Number 6 is Florida quarterback DJ Legway at $3.7 million. Number 5 is South Carolina quarterback Lenoris Sellers at $3.7 million. Number 4 is LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier at $3.8 million. Number 3 is Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith at $4.2 million. Number 2 is Miami quarterback Carson Beck at $4.3 million. And number 1 is Texas quarterback Arch Manning at $6.8 million.
It makes you wonder, John, what did some of the older Manning, the uncles, what were they getting paid rookie year? I just wonder, because, and this isn't even rookie year. This is college football NIL year. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing.
He's going to take a pay cut next year, Pete, if he comes out. He will. He will come out.
Well, especially if things go well. I don't know what he cares one way or not, or of something that we're going to talk about too, which is called the Heisman Trophy. But let's just jump into some college football, John, right out of the gate. And I want to go, before we get to the Heisman stuff, I wanted to go here. So usually in college football, you and I both know this. You start off your season with what we like to call preseason games. They're not, they count, but, University of Minnesota might play South Dakota, who's a good damn football team, by the way. But, maybe it's somebody, maybe it's Ball State, somebody a little bit lower down the chain. They get paid. They come in. You hopefully beat the snot out of them, and then everybody's excited. All the alumni walk away. Hey, we're 1-0. Hey, we're 2-0. Hey, we're 3-0. Well, you haven't played anybody yet. That's not happening this year for a lot of these schools, John. This is what I like, what I'm seeing. So, week 1, here's the big 3. Texas, Ohio State, at Ohio State. That's as big as it gets. Number 1, number 2. Number 1 is getting points. That's interesting. And then you've got LSU at Clemson. And then you got Notre Dame at Miami. That's not a bad first week. These guys aren't playing the little sisters of the poor. These guys are playing each other, and that's the way it should be, really. Let's be honest. I mean, big boys against big boys. Take them out, man, and do it. Michigan, Oklahoma, week 2. Baylor at SMU, week 2. Iowa at Iowa State. Now, I know that people look past those schools sometimes. Don't do it. Iowa State's a damn good football team, and I think one of the best coaches in the entire country is the coach there. And Iowa's Iowa. They're always there every year. They always have a defense. But this year might be the first year in a long time, John, they've got an actual quarterback. Because one thing that Iowa's not been very good at is recruiting quarterbacks. Because they don't care. They got a big offensive line. They always have a good running back, some tight ends. They don't even need the quarterback to throw the ball. That's not what they do, which is part of the problem if they fall behind. So that's a bit of an issue. Georgia at Tennessee, Texas A&M at Notre Dame, Florida at LSU. That's week 3. These are damn good games, and I think it's about time that teams started doing this. Let's play it out, man. I mean, they play 17 games in the NFL. I think you can play some of your games against real competition and see where you really line up, right? So that's what I'm seeing. It's not a rant. I'm not going on a rant. I love it. I just think this is great for college football that they kick it off with real games. What do you think about this? If you were a head coach, would you rather beat it up on the little sisters, or would you rather go one-on-one against somebody that you don't really face very often?
Well, since they all want to make it to the college football playoffs, Pete, you can't just play the little sisters of the poor anymore. You can do it, but you're really risking because then because it makes a difference, folks. I know all of you who really follow college football know this, but everybody you beat, then you want to root for them to win the rest of their games.
Yeah.
Because that pads your scores and so forth. You beat a bad team and they lose to everybody else, that doesn't help you. And I think the real winner here, Pete, are A, fans, and B, the networks. Because what would you rather have? Would you rather have Notre Dame playing Ball State, or would you rather have Notre Dame Miami?
Yeah.
I think we all know which one's going to get the ratings. And we're talking about ratings that put the NBA to shame, ratings that you could take the NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL, and they'll all be less than that game. But can you imagine the Ohio State-Texas game? And by the way, Pete, I'll throw out one more thing. I don't think that NIL that we just saw, the 15 highest paid from 15th to Arch Manning, I don't think they had any Texas wide receivers on that list. But there's going to be a few who might be up for the Heisman if Arch Manning is throwing as many touchdowns as I think he might throw if he stays healthy. So think about that, because this guy's got a rocket arm. He's got the team, and he's got the coach that's very creative with the offense and makes sure that, you know, that the patterns they run open it up for somebody on the other side.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, I was drafting guys yesterday in a college football thing that I'm in, John, one of these different deals that are out there. And I'll tell you what, they're almost all freshmen, because those receivers are so good at LSU and so good at Texas and so good at A&M and some of these schools. They're not there very long before they decide, hey, I'm going to jump into the NFL and start this whole thing off. So it's amazing. And they just load them up with new freshmen all the time. It's absolutely incredible what they're able to do. But the talent in college football, especially at the University of Texas right now, with the facilities they've got, John, because you've showed me some of the videos over time, the inside the stadium and everything else, and the vehicles that they get to drive. You know, this guy's got this thing, this guy's got that thing, Testarossa, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. But it's cool, and I'm happy for the guys because, hey, if Texas has that kind of money and it's okay to do it, it's okay to do it. They just used to do it, you know, behind closed doors in the past.
Under the table.
All right, next up, something that we were talking about a second ago, but Heisman Trophy. It's way too early, but they still have odds on it, of course. And here's what some of the odds look like, John. I'm not going to give the actual odds, but who's number one? Arch Manning, of course. But you know what? It'll be interesting to see because, you know, last year he got an opportunity to play. He did pretty well. And I think he's as good as everybody thinks he is. And if he's got the players that they always have at Texas, including one of the best defenses in all of college football this year, I think he's going to do pretty well. You've got him. You've got the kid down at LSU, who's another one that everybody loves. You've got Klubnik from Clemson, who you and I both have talked about before. This kid is kind of an unknown because Clemson kind of was under the weeds last year. People weren't really paying attention to them. They were a damn good football team, but I think they'll be even better this year. And I still respect the coach because he doesn't like the portal. He says, I want to coach guys. I want to coach a guy as a freshman, so when he's a sophomore, he's a little bit better. Junior year, he's even better. And senior year, this guy's great, right? And that's what Dabo Swinney wants to do there. And so far, people kind of wanted to maybe get him fired, John, but I don't think they do anymore because these guys, if they play as well as what they're supposed to be, this is probably a top 5 team, if not maybe close to a number 1 team this year, I think. So I got my one pick, though, and you were kind of snickering because I know why, but Lenora Sellers. Now here, I watched this kid last year. First of all, Beamer, the famous Beamer from Virginia Tech, this is his son. He's the head coach down there. He's making his own path at South Carolina. John, this kid Sellers is 6'4", 230 pounds. He's as nimble and as good on his feet as a wide receiver at 6'3", 240 pounds. Not so bad. He also has a build like a linebacker. And here's where his numbers were last year. He had 65%, 18 touchdowns, 2,500 yards. That wasn't very impressive because he had some interceptions. But he also ran for 7 touchdowns and about 700 yards running the football. That was basically his first year. So now what does he look like this year with a South Carolina team that's probably a hell of a lot better this year than they were last year? This kid's one of those guys that I think could start chopping wood and get himself up there and potentially be a guy who's sitting there in the room with the top 3 guys going for the Heisman. So that's my look. Do you got? You probably have somebody else you like, or who do you think is going to bid it? Is it Arch Manning? Is it almost like, here you go, Arch?
Yep, it is.
Okay.
It's Arch Manning's to lose.
Yeah.
But the wide receiver from Ohio State, Pete, that's a program that has put out great wide receivers.
Yep.
And number 1 picks at wide receiver, and occasionally some very high running for Heisman Award accolades at wide receiver. That happens a lot there. And many of them have also been punt returners or kick returners and so forth. So I like that. I am anxious to see the kid that transferred to UCLA, Pete, because that kid, his dad talked him into telling, the school that he was playing at, nope, we need 4 million, we need 5 million or whatever. And then the coach just said, oh yeah, well, go find it. And he didn't. He ended up downgrading his son to, I think, $1 million, $1.5 million. He was getting like 3, but that wasn't good enough. He wanted 4 or 5, and they rolled the dice and got 1.
They did the same thing with his brother. Holy crap. Unreal.
Yeah, with a family like that, you don't need enemies. But I'm anxious to see if that kid actually has the goods at UCLA, or if everybody was right. No, he's just okay. We're not paying him that in NIL to come here, because basically he had to knock on UCLA's door, Pete. Nobody was coming after him when he declared into the portal. It wasn't like, it's everybody wrestling for who can get this kid. No, it's kind of like, so I'm anxious to see how he ends up playing out.
Yeah.
Well, great sports again, Pete. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Folks, we appreciate all of you tuning in. We will be back tomorrow with another Rebels Edge. And also, Pete and I will be on with Oliver Rennick's new show. Oliver Rennick, of course, formerly of Schwab Television, has his own program now. And Pete and I are going to be on show numero uno with Oliver. So we're really looking forward to that. So until tomorrow at 1 for this show, and then we'll let you know about Oliver's show. We hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.